This video is going to be all about a game called Trailmakers. So Trailmakers is a game created by a small team of Danish developers, and the best way to describe Trailmakers is like if Legos was a video game. And basically what I mean by that is that the Lego system is designed for the physical world where you need studs to physically connect pieces together. However, the Trailmakers building system is designed for a video game building system, so you can connect pieces basically in any directions and you don't need any studs. And you can also add functions to your vehicles, drive them around, and do whatever you want. And basically the Trailmakers building system for that reason is very intuitive for building in a video game. But this video isn't just about Trailmakers. It is about whether Trailmakers, the Lego of video games, can make for a good racing game. So I think the most important thing about a good racing game is the handling of the car. It's the mechanics, how it feels to drive, the skill ceiling, all of that. And for a long time I thought Trailmakers had pretty poor mechanics and car handling because of one major glitch that always existed in the game until pretty recently when they released an update where they fixed it. Okay, so basically Trailmakers used to have this glitch where if the seat of your car was in line with the rear wheel of your car while you were going forward, the back wheel would lift up and basically your whole car would glitch out because of that. And so if you were drifting, your seat would be in the middle of your car, and because your car is sideways, is traveling at an angle, your rear wheel would at some point go in line with your seat, and your car would glitch out. And this basically prevented you from being able to consistently drift without having your car glitch out. But then they fixed that in the update, so after that you can build drift cars. So that's basically a quick explanation of the glitch, and right after they fixed it, I was pretty excited and I ended up modifying a lot of my cars to be able to drift. And basically you could see here, I had fun drifting with different cars. I ended up modifying one of my rally car builds to be able to drift on dirt. So yeah, obviously this car was my attempt at the iconic Audi Quattro, and this car was honestly really fun to drive around and drift around. And I ended up inviting one of my racist friends, racer, to have a race in this car. Oh, there, you're right behind me.
Yes.
No, how did you pass me?
I don't know how that happened.
But although this car was fun to drive, there was one major thing that I think was missing from it. So yeah, when discussing whether a game is a good racing game or not, I think it's important to consider the sound design. And I think the Trailmakers sound design for cars and engines is not very thought through or very good. It's just kind of very basic and kind of an afterthought. And to show this, here's me driving the rally car around. I had to increase the audio of this footage a lot for you to be able to properly hear the engine, and the game would basically be unplayable like this because everything else would be way too loud. And yeah, basically I think the engine sounds in this game are just way too quiet and not that good. But the sound design isn't even the biggest issue when it comes to the racing aspect of this game. What I would say is a much bigger issue is the lack of racing maps. So basically this game only has one main racing game mode, which is Race Island, and that game mode only has 6 or 7 different maps. So yeah, basically there's just very little options for what track you can race your car on, and this is especially disappointing considering how you can make any type of car possible, but you're extremely limited by where you can race them. But this game does have tools that allow you to make your own maps, which is exactly what I wanted to do. So basically there's a tool called Trailmakers, which allows you to make your own custom map for Trailmakers, including making your own custom racing tracks. And this tool, when it comes to making your maps, does have two major limitations which I had to work around. The first one is that the pre-made assets are extremely limited, especially in terms of track making. For example, you only have one type of corner, and basically the way around this that everyone uses is that you just make your own assets using Blender. And the second major limitation is that you can't actually make like racing like checkpoints or like starts and finishes for racing tracks. Like you can just place things basically, but it's not gonna have the timer and the keeping your times and everything. The way I decided to get around this limitation is by using an existing race, which is a boat race, to make my car race. So basically I was gonna match up the track perfectly with the existing checkpoints and starts and finishes of the boat race to make the car race. And so basically I started working on this, and to start out I had to like just play around with Blender, because it's not an app I usually use, and figure out how I can make a track in there. And after I figured that out, what I did was I wrote down the coordinates of every single checkpoint of the boat race that I was going to use for this track, which is the archipelago race. And after writing down the coordinates of every checkpoint, I basically plugged that into Blender, made a track, then I plugged that track into Trailmakers, and I had the track. Obviously it was not as simple as I'm saying it is, especially since I wasn't really good at Blender or like didn't know how to do anything, but I did end up with a working track, which I thought was pretty cool. And yeah, here's the full track if you're wondering, and the link for you to download it will also be in the description. And the last thing I wanted to talk about when it comes to this game is just the freedom this game gives you in terms of like making your own cars and how they handle. So basically this game has a bunch of like different settings you can tweak, like the hinges on your wheels, or you can add gyros and all that, and use different wheels which will all make your car handle differently. So all of that like combines to allowing you to make like a wide variety of like any car you want, which can obviously make for a fun racing experience as long as you're like competing against cars that are similarly like in a similar league, if that makes sense. And yeah, an example of just the wide variety of cars you can make, here's my attempt at making a Trackmania style car, at least visually. But in terms of logic and gyros, what I did with this car is that when you brake, it activates the gyro, which allows you to like rotate your car easier for drifting. So basically the braking ends up feeling kind of like the way that a handbrake would usually work in racing games. And another great aspect of this game is that you can make your car like look like anything you want, and you can use different building techniques and tricks to build anything you want basically. So for example, here's my attempt at the iconic McLaren MP44 racing car, and yeah, I've used like pistons and stuff here to make it have the right shape and everything, and I think it turned out like really great looking. And here's my attempt at like an older F1 car where the engine has like the intake tubes, and you can see there's like 12 of them, so it's like a V12 engine. And there I'm also using a cool like building technique with pistons to get the engine to look like that. So yeah, unsurprisingly, the strongest aspect of the vehicle building game is the vehicle building and not the racing. But to conclude this video, So, is Trailmakers a good racing game? Well, that's a very subjective question. It's like asking if a hot dog is a sandwich or if Kodak Black is a Clash Royale goblin. You know, those questions just don't have a right or wrong answer. But what I can say is that Trailmakers provides an experience unlike any other racing game, especially in terms of the creativity that you can express in there. So yeah, that's it for this video. See ya.